Whoa, 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 whoa. This is mine? No way. Yo, new floor, who this? I got this flooring a couple weeks ago and I've been waiting for some downtime to put this down. And while I'm at it, I'll take the opportunity to redesign my whole layout of the gym. Thankfully, the wife approved the use of the whole garage for the gym as long as I got a leg press and a treadmill. And now I have both, so I can upgrade from a single car garage layout that I had initially to something better. Designing a gym layout prior to buying or moving anything will help prevent you from spending excess money on something that might not fit where you needed to, or moving something somewhere where it isn't optimally used. And you know what sucks more than moving gym equipment? Moving it more than you need to. And now you could take a page out of the feng shui book, cut out little pieces to represent each piece of gym equipment, and then another piece of paper with a layout, move the pieces around as needed. But that just seemed like so much more work than this gym sim I found on the Rogue website called the Zeus Gym Builder. We're gonna start on the Rogue website and then go to Zeus, which is their Zeus Gym Builder. Scrolling down, we're gonna go to the Gym Builder and then we're gonna start building. Unfortunately, they don't let you create a template without logging in first. So if you don't have an account already, then you should make one. I don't have to walk you through that though, right? So I'm just gonna go ahead and log in. So here are my gyms. This is what I designed first because my wife still liked parking in the garage. And then here's my current design, but we're gonna start a new one altogether. Gonna name your project, say whether it's meters or feet. And then you're gonna pick a layout that matches your room, your workout room, as closely as possible. So for me, it's gonna be this one. This matches my garage as close as possible. The door is gonna be over here, and then windows can just be deleted with the backspace. And we're gonna click next. You can change your dimensions here, but this here is more annoying to use than the next page. So I'm just gonna go and skip this. And then I'm going to change my dimensions here. So you can just move these, and this is an approximate of what my gym kind of looks like. I'm just going to follow what I wrote down as my dimensions. So give me a second. Alright, so these are the dimensions of my garage. As you saw, there is a little bit of tweaking you have to do. You can adjust, as you saw, by clicking the lines and moving them. And you can also adjust the angles of walls by moving the corners instead. From here, we're going to add mats. That's the whole reason I'm redesigning in the first place. So we're going to go with flooring. And they only have two options, the turf and the gym mat. I'm just going to drag and drop. And then there's a few options once you have this. You can click it and you can copy. You can change the dimensions by clicking this. And then just dragging, making it bigger or smaller. You can undo by Control Z, and then you can redo by Control Y. Drag and drop. These rotate left or right. Reflect vertically versus reflect horizontally, and then this just moves something further down on the actual plane here. So when you're looking at it like this, if it's kind of floating or built up on top of things, then it'll push it to a lower level. I find that adding things is easier on the 2D rather than the 3D, so I'm just going to continue doing this. And we're just going to fill up my flooring here. For the sake of simplicity, I'm just going to pretend that I did this everywhere, and then I'm just going to make this fill the floor up, even though it's kind of ugly. I'm not building over here because that's where all my garage stuff is, my toolbox and a shelf full of paint and stuff, so this is primarily where my gym's going to be. Only Rogue equipment is here. They do include some things like maybe a couch, so you would just have general things, but if your equipment isn't Rogue, then you just kind of have to find something similar. So I have a Force USA Ultimate Leg Press, so I'm going to look up leg press, and obviously this is not the same thing. Rogue has an ISO leg press. Rogue does not have Force USA's leg press, so This is the closest I could find, and even looking at it, each leg moves independently, so it's not exactly what I'd like. So instead we're going to change these dimensions to match this one's dimensions, which are 89-inch depth and 64.5 width. So we're going to change that by going to settings, 89. Be sure to write inches, otherwise it's going to mess it up. Width is 64.5. So if we look at it now, it'll be the dimensions of my Force USA leg press. And then I'm gonna do that with other things too, like lat pull down. And I'll just essentially be doing the same exact thing as needed. I'm gonna add everything else, and we're gonna look at this in my intermediate gym builder. Here is my completed product. I added the garage door, my dumbbells. I do have Newell bells. I just used this 25 dumbbell pair to simulate my Newell bells. Box, SML1, HR2, a couple benches, treadmill, pull down, and a rower. But this should be my gym here. And you could go into dollhouse mode as well, which is real nice to look at. You can just see things from an outside perspective. And I think, I'd be happy with this gym. So I can do a whole price breakdown and walkthrough of my gym in a later video. Make sure to sub so you don't miss that. But for today, I want to go through the rationale why we put things where they currently are. Starting with the racks, we decided to put the racks in the center parallel to the slope of the ground because there is a slight decline going from the back of the garage to the front. And so when the way the rack was orientated before, my right foot was actually just a tad bit higher than my left, and just facing one way or the other would make it so that it would create even musculature throughout your body. So we're just seeing how this pans out, and if we want to change it later on, we can change it. The shorter one being closer to the garage door to allow it to open, and the taller one being just outside of that range. That way it doesn't infringe on the garage door. I also have the dumbbells here. My wife primarily uses the ones from 5 to 30, and then my Newell bells are over there. That is technically, this will technically be my side. So Newell bells, 5 to 80, of course, and everything here is like my side. Moving over to the leg press, we still kind of have it near the racks because I do sometimes use some of the rack plates on the leg press. And there is plenty of room on both sides of the leg press to actually utilize it to its full potential. Treadmill right here, right next to the outlet. Really the one outlet we have on this whole wall, so that's kind of the only place it could go. And it does fold up, so if we need that extra room, then we've got it. Going to lat pull down, still pretty close to the weights from the rack. I do kind of want to upgrade eventually. We'll see how that goes. But that's where this is. Row over here does need to be plugged in, unfortunately. I do want to upgrade to a Concept 2, but for right now this is fine, and it'll plug into that outlet right there. Ignore the mess. Box right here will be moved whenever we want to use the rower, but I do like to do step-ups. It's been very rarely sometimes, but I do. And then weighted so there's a kintsugi vest on top of it. And that's essentially the rationale for everything. The leg extension leg curl. I was originally using the smaller rack for it. So now we're back to putting it up and taking it down whenever we're not using it. I will eventually upgrade to something by Gear for Fit leg extension leg curl, which would fit every bench. Future video on that whenever I actually get it. But besides all that, stay hungry.